No. I want to go to Dragonsteel, but Brandon didn't invite me.
I'm sorry. Welcome to Between Two Perns. My name is Jackson Dickert, and I'm joined here by Travis Baldree.
That's correct.
I was worried I'd gotten it wrong.
Well, the thing is, you just have to go by what people actually spell your name as, and that's by far outstrips people spelling it correctly.
Oh, well, perfect. I was kind of worried when I saw you walk in with like the full head of hair, because I actually I did the whole interview thinking you were going to be bald.
Well, I am, but I've got a really, really strong adhesive, so.
I'm worried people aren't going to get it, so maybe you could just take it off.
No, really, like I said, it's a strong adhesive. The chemicals required, you probably pass out.
Okay. Oh, well, none of the interview's going to make any sense now, but that's
the best, just go straight off-road.
Okay,
Never look back.
Plus, tons of cool people are bald. Lex Luthor, Jeff Bezos, all
I'm waiting for
them. Cool.
I'm waiting for the cool people.
You're the third one.
Well, that's also really, really debatable.
Well, maybe by the end of this, we'll get there. So, Travis, you are the author of Legends and Lattes, a high fantasy, low stakes novel.
Allegedly.
So, help me understand what happened here. Which fantasy book did you read that was so scary you had to go and create a new genre with a story set in the most comforting and cozy setting possible?
I don't have to read anything. I just watched the news during COVID.
Oh, and that did it.
That was enough.
Well,
I'd still look around.
I feel weird being glad that COVID happened because we got your book now, though.
I mean, it's like a binky for the world.
I'm surprised you bothered coming to Dragoncon, showing your face around here around all the real fantasy authors. They're writing, books set in, real worlds where, scary, real things happen, and you're over here writing books for Weenie Hut Juniors.
Well, one of the advantages of having raging imposter syndrome is that you feel the same way all the time, regardless of how terrible the circumstances are.
You feel pretty comfortable?
I feel equally uncomfortable everywhere. It's very predictable.
Okay. I thought Legends and Lattes started off really strong. The book
I'm
itself.
sorry.
It's okay. The first line of the novel is Viv buried her greatsword into the Scalvart's skull with a meaty crunch, but then it's all kind of downhill in terms of excitement after that.
It really is.
It was a nice try with the cozy stuff, but I thought it was pretty boring overall. So I'm going to offer you a list of things that I thought you could add to make the next book even more entertaining.
I'm all ears.
Okay. Number 1, guns. I'm also thinking you could enhance the setting with things like a burned down orphanage littered with the bodies of leprechaun children.
Well, I did have an orphanage.
Okay.
And it was burned down, and it was filled with corpses, and they were children, but they weren't leprechauns. But that was, so right between chapter 12 and chapter 13, there was like an interlude.
Okay.
But I edited it out.
Editors.
If I'm going to read the book myself, I read the director's cut edition, which still contains the dead orphans
Gotcha.
scenes.
Are we ever going to get that?
No,
Okay.
because it's only for me.
And then 3, a group of rabbits hopping backwards in a linear formation, which is also known as a receding hairline.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
And it isn't funny.
I thought these things might help in your next book, but I'm starting to realize what a genius you are. You're setting up for the twist of a lifetime, because Viv is an orc, so she can't be a good character in the end. I don't have to tell you, but as an author, you have to follow all the established tropes in a genre for readers to like it. And since orcs are inherently evil, how long will you set up this arc before she finally snaps and burns everything to the ground, along with the newly built leprechaun orphanage, and we get a Redwall red wedding?
Redwall. Well, it depends on if they have a feast afterward. If they have a feast afterward, then it's okay.
They can eat the corpses.
But I see you're under a misapprehension. Is that I'm concerned that people won't like it. I'm already sure that they won't like it. So again, my imposter syndrome comes to the rescue.
That's incredible.
I know. It's actually kind of a superpower just to assume the worst all the time.
That doesn't sound exhausting at all.
No. I'm only crying a little bit.
It's nice that you want to write something cozy, but in the real world, much of our coffee comes from low-paid workers in third world countries. So if the orc is the one running the shop, who do you have collecting the coffee beans? It's hard for me to enjoy this little fantasy novel. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking about the poor kobolds in the sweatshop somewhere across the world grinding beans all day in and out.
Well, let's see, this is another misapprehension. You are assuming that I have thought through anything at all.
Oh.
But see, one of the tricks that I have discovered in writing something is to only think as surface level as humanly possible.
When I tell you about world building, I think you're going to throw up.
I do have a weak stomach.
I'm not going to tell you about it. Fantasy is all about getting readers to immerse themselves in a world that they would want to live in. There's coffee shops all over this country, and it's kind of an epidemic. But you know what we don't have enough of in this country? Combination KFC and Taco Bells. So what made you want to set the story in some place boring like a coffee shop when that was an option?
Well, I mean, the real problem was the licensing fees because I'm very, very cheap.
I am a little bit tired of talking about Legends and Lattes, so can we go ahead and
So am I.
move past
Just all the time.
Yeah. But your next book is called Bookstores and Bonedust.
It's called Bookshops and Bonedust. You should write that down.
Okay. Just
Yeah, P.S. Good.
P.S.?
Yes.
Got it. Bookshops and Bonedust. Given your appearance, why didn't you call it Baldies and Bookstores?
And I thought Baldies might be a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah.
Because for once, I'm actually going to use my real author photo and not the one with the fake hair.
That's so inspiring. While we're talking about titles for your future books, Travis, you made a huge mistake earlier today. I made a fake Wi-Fi hotspot named Cozy Vibes Wi-Fi, and I didn't put a password on it. And you actually connected your phone to it, which you're about to find out is a big cybersecurity no-no, okay? So from that point, it was simple to do a man-in-the-middle attack, which is when a malicious party intercepts the network traffic between two parties that are trying to communicate with each other. Now, your list of future novel titles have been stolen by me, and now I'm going to leak your future titles to the world. It looks like you really wanted to stick to the theme of alliteration and using one letter from the entire alphabet.
Oh, 100%.
Which, that was a great idea.
Yeah, I stole it from Dungeons & Dragons.
Here's some of my favorites from the list, but let me know after I read them which ones you were looking forward to the most in writing. Chimeras and Candles, Dragons and Diffusers, Eldritch Abominations and Epsom Salts, Heroes and Heating Pads, Maidens and Microbrews, Necromancers and NASCAR, Rebels and Radiation Poisoning, Undergrads and Umbrellas, or Zebras and Zippers, because I've never seen a zebra in person. I don't believe they exist.
It was Rebels and Radiation Poisoning because of the Fallout tie-in.
The Fallout tie-in?
Yeah. And you've now, Bethesda's actually, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the company that owns Bethesda Softworks has some of the most rabid lawyers imaginable. So they're really not going to appreciate that you've divulged this information.
It's okay. I think if you cut your hair the right way, you and Todd Howard could just be identical.
Well, we both, do drink the blood of younger people in order to preserve our eternal youth.
Wow. Is that what happened to the leprechaun orphans?
No. And again, they weren't leprechauns. So it was just a really cut and dried case of child labor and really poor building standards.
Wow. You and Jeff Bezos do have a lot of common.
I'm never going to forgive you for that.
Some of those titles aren't the best. It seems like maybe your head is brighter than your future.
It's absolutely true.
Before we wrap up our discussion on, your books, I wanted to ask what your favorite fantasy creature is.
I don't think I can say owlbear because I think TSR will come after me.
They might.
So I won't say owlbear. By which I mean owlbear.
I thought you were going to say griffin.
No.
Because of the bald eagle.
No.
Okay. Travis, you certainly like to carve your own path in life, which I can respect. You have several different occupations, and despite how grating your voice is in general, you managed to make a living in part by narrating audiobooks. And I was wondering if you could narrate something for me really quick.
I don't know, how much money do you have?
$6.
I mean, I'm union, so there's a union minimum, and it rounds up to the hour.
Whatever the union doesn't hear about, they don't need to... What even is a SAG-AFTRA? I don't know.
No one knows. It's actually a mystery. Nobody knows.
Call Scooby-Doo.
It's just letters.
It's just letters. And so that's why we don't have to worry about them. So just think of this as an audition for a big project I have coming up. So do your very best work on this one, okay?
I'm waiting to hear the idea.
This is the prologue for an epic fantasy story I'm working on. Just use an epic fantasy voice, and when the man talks, you need to do like an old man voice.
There was an old king who lived by a magical forest. His name was Travis of the Trees. As he grew older and older, he started losing his hair until one day, on his deathbed, he was completely bald. That day, he called his children to a meeting. He said, "Look at my hair. It used to be so magnificent, but it's completely gone now. My hair can't be saved. But look outside at the magical forest. It's such a magical forest with so many magical trees, but sooner or later they'll all be cut down, and this magical forest will look as bald as me, which is why our family shall be known as the Bald Trees henceforth. What I want you to do," Travis Baldree continued, "is every time a tree is cut down or dies, plant a new one in my memory. Tell your descendants to do the same. It shall be our family's duty to keep this magical forest strong." So they did. Each time the forest lost a tree, the Baldree children replanted one, and so did their children and their children after them. And for centuries, the forest remained as lush and pretty as it once was, all because of Travis Baldree and his receding hairline. See, this joke works better when I mispronounce airline, because it sounds really, really odd if I pronounce airline properly.
You ruined the joke, but thank you anyway.
Did I ruin the joke?
Give it back. It was a perfect joke.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with it.
You really don't want to come to an audiobook narrator with humor that relies on mispronunciation. It's just an established fact.
Okay. Well, I just thought I was coming to a professional.
You absolutely were.
What happened?
When the interview started.
Oh, I see.
But by the end of the interview, I'm off the clock.
Well, I'll be keeping my $6. Now, Travis, there's a lot of talk about AI these days, replicating your voice and putting you out of a job. However, we know the media loves to get people riled up about topics to take attention away from the real news, and I think this is one of those cases. The average conversational speed for most English speakers is between 120 and 150 words per minute. In a Medium article you published in 2022, you mentioned Legends and Lattes is about 62K words long. The audiobook, which you narrated, is about 7 hours and 18 minutes. At these lengths for the book and audiobook, you're doing roughly 141.5 words per minute, but we'll round up to 142 because you need all the help you can get. Why? Because on Audible, people are getting tired of you slow talkers. I don't know anyone who listens to audiobooks at anything less than a 1.2 times speed. Auctioneers, sports commentators, and my mother all speak faster than that, with auctioneers being the slowest at 250 words per minute. Are you really worried about robots learning to talk when auctioneers are primed to take over the audiobook market at any time they please?
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the reason the audiobook is 7 hours and change on Audible is because it's actually got more words than the printed book at 62, because it has an additional short story added. So I'm actually talking much faster than you think I am. And you have no idea how fast I can talk. I actually slow myself down for audiobooks. It's part of the gig.
Well, how fast can you go?
I don't have any text to read from. There was an old king who lived by a magical forest. His name was Travis of the Trees. As he grew older and older, he started losing his hair until one day on his deathbed, he was completely bald. That day, he called his children to a meeting. He said, "Look at my hair. It used to be so magnificent, but it's completely gone now. My hair can't be saved. But look outside at the magical forest. It's such a magical forest with so many magical trees. But sooner or later, they'll all be cut down, and this magical forest will look as bald as me, which is why our family shall be known as the Bald Trees henceforth." Suck it, ChatGPT.
I was kind of hoping you'd fix the receding airline joke that time.
I really couldn't grace that with my voice a second time.
Yeah, you're definitely not getting the $6. I'm thinking auctioneers aren't even the biggest threat to you. The English word record for most words spoken per minute is held by English comedian Steve Woodmore with a whopping 637 words per minute.
If you only say A over and over and over again, this is a really easy record to achieve.
But he did it with spaces in between. The Guinness guy said it was good.
And do you trust Guinness, though?
Enough. Anyway, his name was Motormouth. That's what they called him, the nickname. And since you like cozy fantasy so much, I was thinking your nickname could be Baldylocks.
I've had so many better nicknames. Baldy, Balden, Batcree. That was a good one. That's a favorite of mine.
I kind of like Batcree.
Batcree.
Can I use that as a character?
Absolutely.
In a fantasy? Okay, perfect. Batcree it is. So even beyond the writing career and audiobooks, you're also a game designer, which is super cool.
Allegedly.
You created Torchlight, which is a solid set of games, but Torchlight, Diablo, and all the rest pale in comparison to Fate.
It's true.
When I was a kid, this is a true story, my dad let my little brother and I pick out a game from the Microsoft Store. I picked Diner Dash because a girl at my summer daycare liked it, and I liked her, so that was the most logical choice.
Clearly.
My little brother, Jacob, is about 3 years younger than me, and he wasn't persuaded by these base instincts that I was at the time. And he got Fate, which was not only the better game, but also a better use of time than pursuing the girl. I'll never forgive you for breaking my heart, Natasha. But Fate was incredible. It had pets and spells and loot and dungeons, cool mobs, more content and less microtransactions than Diablo 4. Can we get a Fate remastered, please?
I've tried for years to buy the IP back, but no, it's never going to happen.
Okay, well, I was thinking we could wrap up
I'm just here to crush your dreams.
Okay, it's fine. I was thinking we could wrap up this interview with a little magic trick for all the viewers. Let's see. Would you mind putting these on your wrist? Just this wrist? Just one?
This is just one, huh?
Yeah.
They're both rhinestoned.
Yeah.
Do you have any fuzzy ones?
I don't. Well, we're at Dragoncon. They're up in the room.
I literally don't think this will fit around my wrist. It will not.
Try harder.
All right, let's see. Oh, there we go. I have big wrists. I got one notch.
Well, that's enough. And so for the next part of the trip, I have to handcuff myself to you.
That fits so easily around your wrist, your spindly little wrists.
You didn't have to say that.
I didn't have to. I wanted to.
Oh, look whose spindly wrist. It stayed on you, but it came off of me. Let me get it back on.
Can I tighten it?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, get on there. Good. If we're not breaking wrist bones, we're not doing it right. Perfect. So now you're stuck with me until you sign a legally binding contract that there will be a Fate remastered at some point. Dude.
Slipped, fell, landed between two roots. If I'd landed like a foot to either side, I wouldn't be here. Unconscious for 2 minutes, not breathing, scared the hell out of my parents, lost my sense of smell, but gained telekinetic powers. So, win-win.
Stupid games win stupid prizes.